Hello, I'm Alicia. I'm an artist and illustrator and currently working on a game project named Golembert. And today I want to take you through my design process of the game world. The video structure will be that I will first start out with explaining what kind of ideas we had to bring all into the design, and then I will go through every single island design we made from the beginning of our project until now to the current design, and it will look completely different each time. So yeah. When we started to work on our game Golembert, our only setting restriction was to make some contained space, so we would have a very clear idea of how big the space is. We wanted something smaller that was designed through and through, with many environment decorations, animations and interactions. And what's better suited for this than an island? Our idea was to make a game about the Jewish mystical figure Golem, and we wanted to design a world that was just as mystical. The architecture should resemble our protagonist, therefore we went in the Mediterranean direction when it came to the buildings and vegetation. At the beginning we wanted to have a flying island, and a big source of inspiration was the Ghibli movie Castle in the Sky. Many of you have already figured that out, and it was really funny to read all the comments related to that. NPCs were able to visit the island by airships, and you yourself as a player also had the possibility to build an airship and visit other places. Over time we realized what a big hassle it would be to make all these worlds work and also design and animate all their characters, vegetation and cities. This was a task we weren't up for as a team of 2 people, especially because we didn't want to cut corners, and I hated to think of having many levels that felt dead at the end. It was extremely difficult to let this idea go, but we had to go back to the drawing board and come up with something more condensed. But yeah, we'll start with the first design we made of our island. Our first design was quite straightforward. It was a round island with a small village, a forest, an air harbor. It's a really hard English word. A place to garden and some buildings on the top level of the island with crafting tables inside them. It didn't really work. The many small houses in the village were clunky, and there wasn't a real purpose to space out the crafting and storage options only to justify the design of the island. Leon also pointed out that our first island didn't have a real identity or setting. It was only a vaguely old-timey European island. The design of our golem should resemble clay pots, and we wanted to build a world that looks like the same people who made Golembert could also have built the houses in the world. After a lot of back and forth, we decided to doodle a few different island ideas and came up with something we really liked at the time. It had rounded gardening terraces and tiled floors for the rest of the island. This limited the gardening space a lot, and the only way to garden outside of the terraces was to use pots. The multiple small houses in the first island design turned into one big building on top of the island with catacomb structures inside the island. I won't lie, we tried to save this design so much, but it just didn't really work for our game context. It was designed through and through, every little space was filled in, and it didn't feel like something the players had any agency in. The rounded terraces were really pretty on the design, but they weren't usable the way we wanted them to be, and even though we wanted an organic feel, it felt like grid gardening on a space that made it look kind of misfit. After the second island design, we had to go back to the very beginning. It may seem like a big step back, but it was necessary to test out a blank canvas first. We made one square island and tested how playtesters would interact with it and where they would plant their crops. Then we put some more platforms in different sizes and tested it again. There was this plan to give players the possibility to build more platforms over the course of the game. We integrated the building where Helio lives again and felt like it was time to design something more organic with the results of our playtestings. One important feedback we got during our coachings in university was that in all our previous island designs, the buildings felt too monumental. We wanted to have a very natural, down-to-earth feeling, but the big villas and houses didn't portray that. So we came up with a house that was built inside the island. This way the players have space to garden in front and also on top of the house. It looks as if Helio lives right in the heart of the island, which is very fitting and cute. We were still stuck with the idea of a floating island and just the garden, forest and small little harbor place in the design. You can already see that this is the garden design we went for at the end. We just redesigned the space around it to make it feel more like a real little world. Now to our current design. We took the last very small island design and built upon it. We thought about the game story where the NPCs would come to visit and where certain interactions with the game world could happen. This is how we decided on an sky but also sea harbor. This way there are more possibilities for Golembert's friends to come by. The forest and beach had to be prominent because of some game things we don't want to spoil yet. It's supposed to look like an island people already once lived on, and I think it was kind of looking like that. This design will be changed over time, probably. We already have new ideas and concepts to change small things that don't work perfectly yet, but the garden and overall structures will stay the same. I hope you found our process interesting. If there's any topics that would interest you about our game, Golembert, or other questions related to our game development and art, let us know. Thank you for staying throughout the whole video, and we will see each other next time. Bye!